Hey, come on. Hey, morning. Come on, let's go. We're live. We are live. My camera isn't working so well. So we're live. We're live. We're live everywhere. Right. There we go. And we are live. So good morning. It's Friday, right? Is it? Is it yet? Fearless Friday. Incredible how the week can flow and the many things that we do. I'm always so amazed at how many things we get to do in a given day. I know that I myself am incredibly blessed to be here because just like you, my days are never normal. My days never start off just normal. I mean, like I don't get a chance to be to just be a person is what I like to call it, right? My days are always. I had to move that out of the way. I had to move that. I felt like I had to, so blame me later. But my days are never just normal days. My days are always days that somebody's joining in the conversation on YouTube. And my days just, I have incredible days. So shout out to all of you, all the women of the world, and all of you guys who are multi talented and multifaceted. You move through different spheres. What we see is just a part of what you do. So by the time you see me in the mornings, I have run the world already. I've gotten up and done stuff. And I think for all of us, that speaks to all of us. It speaks to the many areas and the many talents that we have as we're able to flow and function in different spheres and different environments. And when we go into these different environments, we bring different gifts. Yeah, we bring our different talents and we're able to function as much as we can. Hey, Marlon. Hey, Fearless Friday. Good morning, Mr. Wilson. How are you? Right? And so today, today being one of those days when by the time I get on the show, I feel as if I have done a lot. I feel as if, hey, hey, how's life been treating you lately? I haven't heard from you in a while. Where have you been? Life's been very good to me. How about you? I haven't heard from you in a while. I wondered about you. Yeah. So I wanted to give a shout out to all of us and to talk a little bit about how we do what we do. And I wanted to encourage you as well. And hopefully, you will find something in what I say that motivates you and pushes you to your destiny. You're feeling good, feeling very blessed. Thank you. Me too. I'm very blessed, incredibly honored and blessed to be with you all because it takes great care and motivation. And it takes a lot to be able to do what we do. And I feel incredibly blessed that of all the people that you could listen to today on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter or Periscope or wherever you're watching this from, or YouTube, wherever you're watching this from, I feel incredibly blessed that you take time out to hear me. Thank you so much for sharing my videos. They're making the rounds on Facebook. It's been a real opportunity to find yourself relevant and to find yourself in spaces and in conversations where people are having. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to give a special shout out as well to you guys who continue to listen to me every day. It's been a few months we've been doing this, and the feedback has been incredible. Thank you so much for continuing to listen to me, right? I know that there are so many other voices that you could hear, so many other people whose lives you could choose to be a part of, but I thank you. And I'm incredibly grateful that you take time out to be with me. Thanks so much. So, yesterday, you know how it is. You prepare for your event, prepare for your show, and I'm always looking for just working, right? Right. I'm always looking for areas that are relevant to you, my audience. Always looking for areas that continue to, that move me. And out of it, I glean something. I'm a writer and I'm a speaker. I'm a motivational speaker. So for me, inspiration comes in different ways. So when I read, you and I could read the same thing. I get a different perspective on it than you do. If you're an engineer, you see something about engineering in it. For me, I find something interesting to talk about in what I write. So yesterday, I was reading a story on, I think it's Jezebel. Jezebel is an online magazine. Everything is online these days. And I found something that I thought I'd share with you. It's called Meritocracy, the feminist meritocracy. Actually, it's captioned The Lie of Feminist Meritocracy. And I know most of you, I know you guys are going to have fun with this. And I know that it's going to be something that you're probably going to try to be politically correct before. So I wanted to give you some perspective and some background. So I wanted to give you a clear definition, the dictionary definition of meritocracy, not my interpretation, right? So meritocracy, the word means it's a noun, government or the holding of power by people selected on the basis of their ability. Did you hear that? So meritocracy is a government or some sort of power structure and I pause, that's a radio pause, by people selected on the basis of their ability. A society governed by a meritocracy means everyone with skill and imagination may aspire to reach the highest level. Okay, did you hear that? So everyone with skill and imagination may aspire to reach their highest level. Tanisha and everybody else out there, isn't that the greatest lie that has ever been told? Nod your heads. Yes. Because everyone with skill and imagination who aspires does not reach their highest level. And because they put that out there in the society and tell you that that's what you should do, right? That you don't win, you don't succeed because of. They tell you that it's because you don't have high enough aspirations. When in fact, the truth is most of us, and I'm talking to specific groups of people now. I'm talking to people who have skill and imagination, who have applied themselves to the task and have not reached their highest level. And you're asking yourself why. You feel as if you butt up against a glass ceiling. You keep moving, and every time you go up, you hit a glass ceiling. And you're like, and everybody has an answer to tell you why you haven't made it. Does that define anybody out there? Recently, somebody asked me about my book, Through the Fire. That book has been out for 8 years. I've put it out there. I've spent money on advertising, right? And somebody said to me about 2 years ago, you know what's the problem, Harriet? If you were white, you would be on CNN earning six figures. And I'm like, no, I don't want to say that because, there are some black people up there and so on. And they said, no. They said, no. This was coming from a white person who said that. I'm like, yeah, there might be some merit to what you're saying. And, maybe it is, but I didn't want to acknowledge that it's true. But recently, someone around me said, why don't you join this group here in Metro Detroit? And I'm like, babes, no. I said, thank you for thinking of me, but I don't do well in groups because when you go in groups, people, the meritocracy, the politics, and people start the infighting, and all it does is harm your creativity and your reputation. So I don't do well in certain groups, so I stay away from them, right? So, but I said to her, I thought about it. I gave it some deep thought, and I said, we need to think about why are those people fighting anyway? So I came home and I sat down and thought about it, and I said, well, why do they fight? Why are they fighting? Why are they still fighting and jockeying for position and trying to get to the top like crabs in a barrel? And I said, because there is a meritocracy. So I thought about it Wednesday night. I mulled it over in my head yesterday. I said, no, I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to bring up the conversation. And there I am yesterday scrolling through my Facebook feed. Actually, I was on Twitter, avoiding Facebook with everything in me. And guess what? Guess what showed up? The lie of feminist meritocracy. You know that lie. I'm going to spell it out for you. There are people who like to tell you that the reason you haven't made it is because, have you read Sheryl Sandberg's book? I wouldn't buy it. Because you don't lean in. That's the biggest lie that's ever been told. Any woman here who has ever worked around a corporate structure or any kind of power structure, hold your hand up. Any man, anybody, just hold your hand up. That's you. You're like, Harriet, I'm using my phone to watch you. So you can't hold your hand up because the phone may drop, or you didn't do your yoga this morning. Okay. I want to make you laugh because you've got to see the ludicrousness in trying to tell us. Remember what a meritocracy is. It says it's some kind of power structure that says that people who win, you win because anyone with skill and imagination can reach the highest level if they aspire to. And the rest of us are like, they never heard of George Washington Carver, did they? They never heard of all the people who invented the traffic lights and the guy who invented the thing that makes the refrigerator work. And the fact that the light bulb was actually, and electricity was actually discovered in the Caribbean, and then they went over there and brought it here like they did it. You've heard that story, right? You actually heard about how the trains move, that actually that was done in the Caribbean, and then they brought it over here in America and said, well, we invented that. We invented the railroad, the idea of the railroad lines, right? So tell me again about that lie that it comes from a meritocracy. You know who is the meritocracy? The people who are holding the power. So as you look at life is what? A pyramid, isn't it? Life is a triangle. Do this. Life is a triangle. It's wider at the bottom for a reason. There are more people at the bottom. The higher you try to climb is the narrower it is. So the pathway to get up there becomes very narrow. What that tells you is they're killing off people. They're fighting off people, preventing people from going forward. So as the Bible says, the race is not for those who, it's not for the swift. So it's not a swift race. The race is for those who endure to the end. The truth of the matter is, if we continue to aspire and keep aspiring, maybe it's not even in your lifetime. Maybe what you're doing is so great that it will outlast you, that the people who come behind you are the ones who are going to reap. We've all heard those stories, the people who wrote great books. Look at the great painters of their time, Picasso and so on. Did they really enjoy the notoriety and the fame and the power and the money that comes with your name? No, it's their descendants who have done so. So maybe what you're working on is so great, so big, that it is going to outlast you. I'm here to tell you that I'm creating some kind of awareness for you to understand that some of the reasons why you haven't made it to the top have nothing to do with your skill, your imagination, and your level of aspiration. It has nothing to do with your hope. It has nothing to do with your faith. It's not that you lack that. You have that in abundance. Hear me out, people. Just to wake up in the morning and believe takes great faith. The stuff that you have to overcome to get there. My daughter is now an attorney, right? She's sitting the bar in a few months and so on. The struggle that it was for her to get to this level. I was there. I was the mother. I was on the inside watching this child fight against every kind of barrier to get to it. And now that she's there, she's literally sitting there like, she can't even breathe because she's like, I can't believe it's finally over. She's been fighting it for so long. She's 26 years old. She told me the other day, she said, finally, I'm done studying. I've been studying all my life. It took me all of my life to get here. And I'm like, well, you have a longer way to go. So get ready. Do you see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying to you is that the barriers, the stuff that was in her way, trust me, every time she'd fought to get to another level, There was a fight to pull her back down. Every time she came over here and used a different set of tools to fight, there was another battle. And then over here, there were battles on every side, surrounded on every corner, turning her head this way and that. It was mommy this. I spent more days and nights on my knees praying and calling and making phone calls. Even to the end of it, even to the last year of law school, it was the fight of her life. But I told her, do not quit. Do not give up. When she had no energy, I was her energy. Me and my youngest daughter, we pushed her, literally pushed her. It took everything. It zapped her. You know what the feminist meritocracy says? That if she leans in, bullshit, and that's a lie. Yes, I'm calling it out because it is total baloney. It does not work. If you know your value, does my 26-year-old daughter look like someone who doesn't know her value? Her name is Alexandra McLennan. Does she look like someone who doesn't know her value? Do you look like someone who doesn't know your value? And if you're not in the right networking spaces, y'all, how many of us network? To the 9th degree. So tell me again why I haven't made it. You haven't because of the pyramid. It gets narrower at the top, and the people who control the top, they don't want anybody else to come up there. They pick and choose the victims who make it. And when they decide to choose whom they're going to promote, they look at a certain set of factors and they hone the person. And they use the media to control what you think about the person. So they don't want you to think that losers get up there. So what they do is they create stories around the person to make it sound like, but they actually choose whom they want to make it. So when I looked at my daughter, I recognized that she had certain characteristics that kept pushing her and pushing her. Just by reading your all Facebook posts, I know you all have that. I listen to what you're writing and I read what you're saying. And I know that you have the skills. And I am just stopping by on this Friday morning before you hit the weekend, just before you put that pen down, just before you press that delete button, just before you press pause and stop. I am stopping by to tell you, do not quit and do not give up. Maybe, just maybe, we need to create our own meritocracy. Maybe we need to create our own power, our own governing, our own holding power. I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about what you're doing. Create your own power surrounding that so you control it. Control it so that when you stand, you still stand, and do not give up. Do not quit. Don't ever quit nor give up, because you could be, it's just a matter of time. I heard that it's just in the sync of time. Before you know it, you'll still be looking at the time and you don't even realize you crossed over, just like my daughter. She was still fighting and consumed with the fight. She stopped looking forward. She stopped making plans for the future because she was so bogged down in the fight. There was so much stuff that came against her that she couldn't even see it. She had to have people on the outside pushing you on. Do you hear what I'm saying? Does anybody out there have somebody who is pushing you forward? Do you have people who are pushing you? If you don't, time to change your circle. Say that. Change your circle. Change your circle. If you don't have people pushing you, because all of us go through moments of self-doubt. Let's be transparent and frank. This is an open forum. You might not admit it because you don't want it to be recorded on digital media. Well, I am here to affirm you. We all have issues. We all go through moments of self-doubt, self-preservation, self-searching. When you search yourself and ask yourself, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this really what I'm called to do? Is this really where I'm supposed to be now, right at this moment? We all have done it. We all have issues. But you know what's the good thing? You got to get up. And after you're done with all the self-doubt, and after you're done with all that, just shut up. After you question yourself and you doubt yourself, shut up. Just stop. Stop it. The minute you start doubting yourself, that too, I did that, I did that. Stop. Because the universe, his name is God, the creator, the man who made the universe. God is going to send you a voice that is going to tell you you're on the right track. Keep running, keep winning, keep going, keep going. And you may say to yourself, but I am closer to 60. My 40s are in my rearview mirror. For some of you, you say my 30s are in my rearview mirror. Some of you are saying your 20s are in your rearview mirror. Some are saying, Harriet, what are you talking about? My 60s are in my rearview mirror. Are you telling me I shouldn't quit? Do not quit. Let me tell you something. You never know where your inspiration comes from. Years ago, I was preaching a sermon at a small church here in Detroit, right? And I was preaching to, there must have been maybe 50 people in the room, right? Small church. And there was a man in the room who he had walked in with a cane. I'd seen him before because it was my mother's church and I'd been there a few times. And it was a Sunday morning. And this man walked in with a cane and he was sitting up front. And I was preaching about finding your purpose and staying in it. And I noticed that he was crying, but I saw him wipe his eyes a couple of times. I thought there was something in the air that, your eyes just glanced over and you saw the person do this more than once. You start thinking maybe there's something in the atmosphere that was getting in his eyes. Well, after the sermon was done, after it was done and, people were coming forward to greet you, when he came up to me, you know how old he was? He was 69. You know what he said? He said he had developed a patent for something and he was ready to quit. He said it had taken him, listen to me carefully, 40 years to get it registered. Do you hear me? And he was ready to throw in the towel. And here I came when he turned 69 to tell him, do not quit. I learned a few weeks later that he successfully submitted his patent. If all it did was submit the patent for the generations after him, he's still alive, for the generations after him to still be alive, they will live it out, but it's a legacy. Maybe that's what it was supposed to be. But it took him 40 years to get to this point. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is why you cannot quit. And at the time, it was so I stood there and I was literally stunned. I was so stunned to hear someone say that what you have said to me today is going to make me finish after 40 years. We're not talking about 40 weeks, 40 minutes, 40 hours, 40 months, 40 days. We're not talking about that. For some of you, you give up after 40 minutes, 40 seconds, 40 minutes. You nix the idea. You wear yourself out. You convince yourself it can't happen. This man said it was 40 years. And he was going to submit his patent. It had taken him 40 years. In the meantime, he was a family man. Hey, let me see what people are saying here, right? So awesome. Thank you, right? Right? And in the meantime, guess what? He raised a family. He worked at the plant, right? Retired and was still doing it. Walked in with a cane, had a stroke, and was walking in with a cane. You know what happened when I looked at him? I know exactly what happened to him. The minute he gave up, he lost his save, his fight. Your fight is your reason for living, your purpose. That thing you're working on, that's your reason for living. That's what's going to keep you strong. That's what's motivating you. The minute he gave up, sickness and disease came in like a rider. I mean, it came in like a tornado. Why? Because all these years that he was pressing, he was fighting. Guys, listen to me. Our bodies talk back to us. Our cells are living. You are living. You're a living, breathing being. Let your body and your cells talk to you. It talks to you. Listen to it and follow through with it. And whatever you're working on, for the love of God, do not quit. For God's sake, do not quit. Do you hear me? Can I tell you? Say it after me. Do not quit. Do not give up. Yes, you're in the battle for your life. You're fighting for your life. You're fighting for what you stand on, for what you believe. It doesn't matter who is against you. Those that are against you are nothing compared to those who are for you. you. You can't see it all, but you will. You will see it. You will see it. Trust and believe. Trust and believe, and keep on fighting. Do you hear me? It is so important that you hear this message today, because for somebody, it could be at the end of your rope. Maybe when this broadcast is over, you get some bad news and you feel like rolling over. Too many people are quitting and giving up. The graves and the rivers and the cemeteries are filled with broken dreams and broken lives, and people giving up and saying, I can't do it anymore, under the burden of meritocracies that breathe and speak lies. They write stuff, they preach stuff, they tell people. I'm not talking about preachers, I'm talking about people who sit there and pontificate, and you all sucker in. Be careful, be careful, be careful, because everything that glitters is not gold. People rent Rolls Royces and Mercedes and crap and take picture and say, this is me profiling, this is me. And you think, oh my God, they're doing something different than I am doing. And you're looking at it and you're like, oh my God, they're doing something great. What am I not doing? I'm such a loser. I just want to quit. I just want to give up. And then you find out that what they were saying and doing is all a lie. And there you are, ready to quit. People pay money to play. That's all some of them do. Some of them that you see on Instagram getting 300 likes, they pay for that stuff. They set up a promotion that when I make a post, they pay for it to get over 300 likes. Some of them buy followers, and you'll see them all the time. And this is you. Boy, they must be doing something great. They must be doing something. Meanwhile, you're putting in the work. You're doing the work. You're putting it in. You're toiling. You're learning. You're scrimping. You're saving. And you're running your family, running your destiny. Some of you all are keeping the same job and running it and working it. Some of you gave up everything for it. And you're working it, and you see somebody else come along and it just looks so effortless and so easy. And you're like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? You know what they're not doing? Lying is what they're doing that you are not doing. And paying somebody to like their status. So you're like, whoa, if I were to go by how many likes I get on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, I would have never done nothing, because nobody likes my posts. I mean, I don't know, maybe 5 likes. If I were to use that as a barometer of my success, I'd have never been anywhere. I would have quit and given up, because for some reason, people, it's not that they don't see, they just don't like it because they don't, but they'll go like somebody else's status. You think I'm going to sit here and be consumed by how many likes I get? Or am I going to follow the leading of my heart that tells me exactly what I'm supposed to do? I'm going to do it anyhow. Whether you like it or not, whether you're not, there's a whole big world out there. Why am I going to be concerned about 5,000 people when there are 7 billion people on the planet? Do you see what I'm saying? My goal is to reach the 7 billion people on the planet, not the 5,000 people. Because out of 5,000, how many are seeing you on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter? These are the kinds of conversations that you must have to negate the negative stories that people tell you. There's one young woman I see who is striving real hard, raising her family and trying to make it as a rapper. Really trying. I pray for her. I see her striving and making it. And the other people are seemingly getting further ahead quicker than she does. And I'm like, don't try to be like them. Don't go sell pictures of yourself. Don't take pictures of yourself naked. Keep it clean, because that's what you're called to do. You're the difference maker. Do you see where I'm coming from? I've gotten the fight of my life. I've gone in spaces where they don't want to see your face. But you know what you have to do? You have to keep it moving, because eventually you're going to get to the place where your face is welcomed in that space. You have to wade through the haters and the negativity. It's different. What we say, you know it. Different levels, different devils. Everything is a level. So level up. You start fighting here, level up. Just keep moving. You will level up and get over them. Level up, level up, level up. Do what you must do. right? Keep it clean so that there's nothing that can be attached to you. It takes longer, yes, but trust the process that you're going to make it and that you're going to look great anyhow. Do you see what I'm saying? Years ago when I first started, and I was 30, and I was like, if this doesn't happen in the next 2 years, they're not going to find me relevant. I'm going to be in my 50s and I'm going to look old and I'm going to blah, 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 blah. And a guy stopped me and he said, no, that's not how that's going to work. He said, you will hit your stride when you turn 40. And he said, after that, it's just going to be on. He said, you're going to look so great. He said, don't worry about that. He said, don't worry about that. Just keep doing it, because he said you have some lessons to learn and it's a question of maturity. I couldn't understand what he was saying because I thought I was pretty mature in thinking at the time. Now I understand. It's spiritual maturity. It's emotional maturity. It's maturity in business. It's maturity in contacts and networking. So if you ever talk to some of these self-help gurus, and they will tell you that my success is attributable to the fact that I leaned in. And I'm like, what you lean into? Don't you don't want me to answer that, right? And you have to know your value, and you have to be in the right networking spaces, and you have to know Daddy 7777, and you're sitting there, and this is you getting more depressed and demotivated by the minute because you're like, I don't have that. So you start making a list of what you don't have. And you follow that as a guideline instead of making a list of what you do have. You know what you do have? You. That's what you have. You have you. You're the biggest motivating factor. Nobody like you. You are your it. You are your own it. Do you realize that? When will you come to the point where you understand that you are your best sales representative and you are totally it? On your worst day, you look better than all of them. Trust me. A couple of days ago, I had on a summer dress, and I was out and about, and it's summer, so my skin gets burnt in the summer. So I wear hats to step out in the sun, right? I've learned my lessons, and I don't want to have some of those things attached to melanoma and foolishness like that. So I'm aware. So I stepped out in my hat, and I can't remember where I went to do something. And when I stepped out, I went to the pharmacy. I followed my daughter into the pharmacy. And some young ladies were in there. And, they're young people. I love young people. So I'm like, hey, how you doing? And they're like, hey, how you doing? And when I walked past one of them, she turned to the other one and she said, that lady is so pretty. She doesn't even realize how she looks. I had on my hat and a summer dress. And when she said that, I looked up and there was a mirror in front of me. And I said, whoa, I should have taken a picture. I look picture perfect on today. Hello, somebody. Sometimes you got to pat yourself on the back. That's what happens to some of you. Whenever you go into environments and you're judging your success by what someone else has accomplished, and you're looking at what they have done, and you start ticking off, and you don't fall there, no, you need to stop. Nothing wrong with evaluating and looking at what the competition does so that you can say, well, if it ain't broken, fix it. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. And, but you don't dare compare yourself to others. We do that over and over to our own detriment. We compare ourselves to others. It is not fair. You are your own you. You do what comes to you. Do you see what I'm saying? I can only be Harriet Kamak any day of the week. I can't be you as great as you are. I can't. I can only live in my skin with my perspectives gleaned from the environments I have lived in. So I can't be anyone else. I'm authentically me all the time. So I can't function in anything else. I don't go around and hold up a list and say, well, Sally Mae does this, that. I don't have Sally Mae's reach, access, nor do I have Sally Mae's money that her husband probably was giving her. There's somebody I know of. And this woman has had quick success in a short time, which made me question it. I said, well, you don't really know people's story. You don't know how long they've been striving to do it. But she's married to a very wealthy man. He's a doctor. He's a specialist. I can't say what he specializes in because then you'll figure it out, right? But she has phenomenal. I mean, she's always taking photos, always, you know, posing and so on, and how this is thrilled and this is that. It's her husband's money that is paving the way and buying her way into the networking spaces she wants to be in. Has she really dominated yet? No. But she's using it to get to where, and you're saying, well, what is wrong with that? The problem with that is what? She's presenting a facade and telling everybody else that the reason they haven't won is because they don't do what she does. But what she didn't tell anybody is that her husband's money has catapulted her in 3 years where she never had it before. This is this new husband. The previous husband didn't do jack, so she had to struggle through it. So now she has the rich husband. And now with that husband's, so when she presents the facade that I'm successful because I leaned in, yeah, I'm in the right networking spaces. That's not true. That is the lie. So now that you know what the lie is, what you gonna do? What are we gonna do about that? Well, here's what you are going to do. First and foremost is you're gonna keep at it. You're gonna make sure that you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. Once that answer is satisfied in you, then it's a question of, well, what else I need to do? Don't try to copycat what someone else is doing, because what might work for them may not work for you. I see it every day. People on Instagram, they're screaming and saying, well, I do the same things. I do the same things. How does it work? How did they cross into the other realm and I didn't? They paid off somebody. That's the thing. That's the answer. They paid somebody off. Stop beating up on yourself. Make sure that when you come before us to sell your product, you're in the right space mentally. Make sure that you are conscious yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying? You are authentically you. Do that. Do it with authenticity. Some of them, you can look in their faces and they're like, this is me. My husband and I were at someplace the other day and we have just a winning. And this is mommy first, daddy first, love first, this first, and that first. They're paying off people to get likes and paying off people. Yes, they do. How do I know? Because the same people whom they're paying off do what? You know it. They come to me. And I'm like, no, thank you. Well, it only is only going to cost you so much for, you could get 1,500 likes right away. You could get 1,500 followers. We can boost your following. I'm like, I'll do it organically. Because I want to make sure that the tools that I have been given, the tools that came with me when I was born, the tools in my toolbox are exactly the tools that I need to win. Now, does it work for some others? It depends on what you call success. What do you call success? What does success look like to you? Answer that question. What does it look like to you? Right now, at this point, success for me is health and money. Right now. 10 years ago, it was a different qualifier. You see, it changes. So what does success look like to you? Well, if it looks like to you getting a lot of likes because you think that attracts that, I get requests on Instagram all day to be a brand ambassador. And I'm like, who are you? What's about your brand that I'm going to attach myself to? Yeah, if you're not a big enough name, then how much money are we talking about? Do you see what I'm saying? So when you look at others and you're looking at why are they more successful than you? Why have they achieved more than you? And you're ready to quit. You're ready to give up. Some of you have the answers to some of the things that we need. You realize that Steve Jobs is dead? Say it. Steve Jobs is dead. The iPhone was a prototype for the Samsung Galaxy. Don't get it twisted. For all you out there saying, I'll never buy an iPhone, the iPhone was the prototype for the Samsung Galaxy. The iPhone was somebody's idea. He copied it from somebody, they say. It was somebody's idea. So until they come up with a better, they say we have saturated that. Maybe you are out there and you have a better idea than the iPhone. Maybe you have a better idea on how we can drink water, how we can treat water, how we can deliver water to other people. We have a water crisis in Flint. We live in Michigan, y'all. We're surrounded by the Great Lakes. It rains here almost every day. And yet we had a water crisis in Flint. Does not make sense. What does that tell you? The meritocracy was working. That's what that came down to. The people who had the control controlled how the water was distributed to the residents of Flint. And the residents of Flint became a sitting duck for meritocratic powers. That's all that it is. And they will repeat the lie to you and say, well, the reason you didn't succeed is because people with skill and ability who aspire will get to their highest level. And then this is you looking, but I don't see me up in your highest level. So it's got to be something else. They use money. They buy people. You read George Orwell's book, 1984? I saw a meme on Instagram the other day where they made a, you know that, right? It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. They made a meme of George Orwell saying his book was what was meant to be what not to do, not an instruction manual. Right? Seriously. And you think they didn't pay somebody for that? Think again. People are telling you, have multiple streams of income. And some of you are like, girl, I work 2 jobs. I work my side hustle. That's 3. I have this on the side, that on the side, and it still ain't adding up. It's taking you so much to, yes, always have multiple streams of income. I'm all for it. Everybody needs more than 1 streams of income. Yes, because it takes a lot of money to survive. Yes, it does. But ask yourself, quality of life is an issue. As we get older, quality of life becomes the qualifier. It's not quantity anymore. It's not how many times you get on a supersonic jet. It's quality of life. How will you live out your years? And if our parents' lives are anything to go by, stuff happens, right? Might not happen now, but stuff happens. So what are you going to do, right? And you're saying to me, you're Harriet, that's exactly what is driving me. Well, use it as the fuel to energize you. Keep it moving. You are going to, can I be honest? Expect to have days when you question yourself. If you do not question your own project, your own belief, it's not authentic. If you don't sit back and say, why am I doing this? Every time they shut, yesterday it was one of those days for me. And I was scrolling through Instagram, and a woman whom I totally admire, Arianna Huffington, put up a post. She just put it up just as I was thinking. Because when I looked at it, I was like 9 minutes ago. Wow. Were you hearing me? Right? And she said she got rejected 39 times for her first book. And this was me. Been there. Right? And she said, after 25, she said, you would have thought she'd gotten the memo and would have given up. Nope. She believed in what she was doing. Beaten down, dragged down. Yes. And she said, after 25 times, she just walked into the bank, had no assets, no nothing. And in those days, they probably didn't require much collateral or something. And she went into the Barclays Bank of London, and they gave her a loan. The manager believed in her, gave her a loan. And she got rejected 12 times after that. But the 13th time was the charm. She got an acceptance letter, contingent upon certain factors. And that launched her so that she came to America, married a guy named Huffington, and started from there. Doesn't that sound typical? So that's not the story of leaning. That's the story of perseverance. What the leaning people don't tell you is the perseverance part. They tell you that if you lean in, and that success is not confined to just being a man, when it's easier for men to be successful than women, especially white males. Let's be clear. Okay? When my daughter was in law school, you know that going to law school requires that you don't have a record, a criminal record, right? Nowadays. Well, there was a white dude, 2 white dudes who had a record. And while they were in school, they incurred another record for the same thing that got them a record in the first place. So when it became known, they put it out on the campus So she took a photo screenshot and sent it to me. And I'm like, wait just a minute. I want to know how many people of color did they turn down and told them they couldn't be accepted to the program because of their record, but they put these two dudes in, and now they get caught for the same thing that got them in the record in the first place. So the meritocracy operates by letting in the people whom it wants to let in. Some people buy their way into the meritocracy. We call them brown nosers. They're yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, you know, sir. They brown nose their way to the top. They're like, by any means necessary, they're getting to the top. Are they worthy of being at the top? They usually pan out after a while because they don't have what it takes. You know what it takes? Perseverance. You can't quit. You cannot give up. A few days ago, I was going through my photos and I came across a picture that we took in December of 2013. And it was, I had just created the logo for Exodus. You heard that? 2013. You know when Exodus became a reality? 2017. It was an idea that we had to create a program to help women and children who had been through violence and who had been through trafficking. It was an idea. I created the entity, did nothing. Talked about it a little bit, but didn't really put it into action until 2017. And have been toiling at it ever since. Guys and girls, you can't give up. Do not quit. I don't care what they tell you. You listen to all these TED Talks and you listen to all these people who behind the scenes, they're told when you go up there, don't stress the overcoming part. Don't stress the adversity part. We want people to walk away feeling good. So stress the feel good part of it. That's what they tell people to say. So people are not telling the authentic truth about the fights, about the times when their lights were cut off, about the times when the car was on the what do you call that? The wrecker that came to pick it up. Not about the foreclosure notices that were posted on their door. They don't want you to tell people how you really got over it, because you know what? It would motivate everybody. That's why you listen to me, because I tell you the unequivocal truth. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you the truth about how it's done. I'm going to tell you the truth about it. The perseverance, the sticking to it, not conforming and not giving up and not allowing certain things to happen. I went through the fight of my life. You see me sitting here today? Did you know that in November of 2016, my own family members came into my house and took every piece of clothing that I owned in November of 2016, one day before the general elections? Did you know that about me? Did you know they took my coats, my scarves, my hats, my mother's youngest daughter? So that means she's a sister, doesn't it? That means she's a family member. Did you know that about me? Did you know that at the same time, that very day that she took all of my clothes, did you know that I was meeting with someone to get a house to provide shelter for women who had been trafficked and who had been sexually violated? And who had been emotionally abandoned and physically violated? Did you know that? And so I'm trying to help others. And they came and took all my clothes at the start of winter in the Midwest, in Michigan. She's alive. I didn't touch her. She's alive. Because I know some of you are like, girl, if it were me. My boyfriend at the time said, I don't know how you deal with that. Because he said, if it were me, and he just got up and left the room. I know exactly. You could hear mumbling under his breath. Say amen, somebody. Yeah, lived through it. So did that stop? I remember thinking they want me to stop. I didn't stop. 7 months later, we opened the shelter. And that thing made me struggle because it takes time to build up your wardrobe. All of my clothes, baby. All of my purses. Took everything November 2016. Sometimes you have to go through some stuff in order to understand, is this worthy of the fight? Is it worthy of the call? Are you worthy? Would I quit? What if I had quit when they did that? Those girls would have never been helped. People in the city of Detroit would have never known my name. I would have never known that there are people who are being trafficked. Because when I started talking about it, all of a sudden, People start listening. No, people are copying everything you do. You know, there are people who just, oh, I'm going to do the same thing she does just to get the same effect, thinking it will work for them. No, you have to pay the price. Did you pay the price? Were you the one whose clothes they took in November of 2016? Were you the one whose travel documents were confiscated by an egregious and angry man? Were you the one whose hair was dragged across the floor by her hair? Were you the one who had to sit before a governmental authority who had the power to stop your life? And you had to sit and believe that they who called you was going to finish the work. Were you the one? So now don't try to stand in someone's light. Don't you dare quit and give up. Stand firm and stand in your own light. You're incomparable. You are powerful. You're incomparable. Nobody can walk it like you do. Stand and deliver. And stand and deliver, and you will stand. You will stand. Hear me today. You will stand. You will overcome. You will defeat them. You are undefeated because you paid the price. It's not about leaning in. As great as they try to make those values are, it's not about knowing the right people. I thought I knew the right people. It's not about that. This gift is you. And you have to come to the place where you recognize that you're the gift. I don't care what your family members say about you. They dogged me. They called me names. At my greatest need, they abandoned me. But they weren't the one who is called. It was me. I had to stand to defend what I believed. I had to stand. Do you understand? So today when you see people running around trying to imitate and be you, smile. Okay? Smile. Tells you you're on the right track. If you weren't doing something and weren't being effective, they wouldn't be trying it in the first place. So that's why you can't listen to the roar of the crowd, can you? The roar of the crowd is not the right decibel. And it's not the right demarcating line that tells you that you have won or you have overcome. No, it's not. It ain't easy, baby. Say it ain't easy. It ain't easy. If it were easy, 2% of the population wouldn't be the rich. It would be 98% of the population. To get to that point, fight. So today, at the end of this day, when you feel like quitting and giving up, fight. Get up with everything that is in you. Push back against they who walked away. People who left you, abandoned you, dropped you off in some city and then walk away and you had to figure it out for yourself. Get up and fight and fight and fight and fight. Bring it out of you. The fight is in you. Bring it out and get up and do it. Because it's worth it. I dropped my daughter off at her new job as an attorney today. Did you hear me? I dropped her off. You know what she's doing right now? She's in a courthouse in the city. What did I just say? She's in a courthouse defending a city as an attorney at law. Are you hearing me? What if she had quit last year? What if she had given up when the going got tough and the tough got going? I said, you better keep going and fought and pushed her. And today, that's what she's doing. Do you dare to quit? I hold you accountable to that which you've been called to do. I hold you accountable. I am holding you accountable. Next time you see me on Facebook and I say, hey girl, hey boy, what you up to? What you doing? You better answer. I'm holding you accountable because you can't. If she had quit or given up when adversity had come against her, she wouldn't be this morning. I dropped her off. Her father, her very own father, took all the money that it would have taken to send her to law school. But there is God, created scholarships and all kind of funding and loans and all kind of stuff. If she had said, "Oh my God, I can never make it," she would have never made it. And there she was this morning, wearing everything that's mine. Hey, y'all. So if you see her, whatever she was wearing today and yesterday, probably next week is Mama's closet. Last night she said, "Well, I'm visiting Mama's closet, the boutique called Harriet." Right? But it's all good. It's all good. And her little sister is there. You go. I'm so proud. And I just sat there. Do you understand? You can't quit. You can't give up. Don't let them tell you that you have to lean in and you have to be the right networking spaces. Yeah? And know your value. As if you don't know your value. As if you don't have that multi-million-dollar answer to that problem. And you're like, what are they talking about? Don't quit. And don't give up. It's Friday. And it's Fearless Friday. So today, you better start right over. Flip the page. Start again. And don't quit. Go to my website, harrietkemmock.com, and go to the exodusfoundation.com. Go read up about me. You'll see. Go buy my book, Through the Fire. Now you know why I have the fire. Gotta have it. Get your fire. Go be fired up and get your fire back and start again. Go do it again. Because you know beyond the shadow of a doubt, this is what you've been called to do. This is what you're supposed to do. So go and do it. Don't quit. Don't quit. Don't give up. Don't quit and don't give up. It's Friday. I'm holding you accountable. And I believe in you. Right? Thank you so much. HarrietKemmock.com, the ExodusFoundation.com. Yeah. Help us to do what we do. Thanks so much, everybody. Be blessed. Be blessed. Be blessed. Be blessed. Be blessed. Thank you. I love you. Bye for now. I gotta go. Bye. We waited for